Welcome to another episode of Chaotic Sports. My name is Chris Sarda, co-host Angelo Saboro. Zachary Sarda is running around here somewhere. He might babble like he's been doing the last few weeks. Anyway, so listen, Lo. Every week I make a sort of half-true, half-false joke about this being unprofessional do-it-yourself podcast. In the back of my head, though, I'm always thinking, well, we'll do better next week. We'll take it seriously next week. We'll prepare some stuff. We won't just do like the knowledge you and I have already just because we read and talk about sports all day and it's just our life.
Yeah.
I always think we're gonna prepare stuff. We're not gonna have like papers flipping on the podcast and shit and looking up stuff. But once again, here we are, just gonna rely on the bullshit we're ready for and reading.
Most of the stuff is just...
I mean, you're not
most of the stuff
prepared
is just
either.
I'm always prepared. It's in my head. So the thing is, like, we're basically just naturally prepared. We should just do a little more preparing. But it's already in our brains.
It's just every now and then I got to remember a guy's name or something.
Yeah.
So there was this just a few hours ago. It looks like a marketing thing, but it looks like it's an effective marketing thing. Connecting SW, which I think is connecting sports writers. I actually like the idea. That's pretty cool. It seems like a lot of sports writers followed it and they retweet and stuff, and they do a contest for best article and stuff. And it's funny because I was flipping through some of the podcasts, and it's like, you know what? All these people with a podcast, most of them are just like you and me with good microphones or something like that. They're all trying to be like Adam Schefter or something. You know who I am? Like Homer Simpson.
Okay.
Yeah. Homer Simpson meets Homer Simpson with a Libsyn account.
Meets
making podcasts.
Meets Darth Vader or something.
I mean, I take that like as a compliment.
Yeah,
that's good.
That's what I mean.
Because I was thinking you were like Garfield.
Oh, Garfield. So you're saying you're not trying to be anybody else. You're just being you.
Like, what's our podcast? We've been podcasting for 5 years. Has it gotten any better? I think maybe. I mean, you seem to remember all the classic ones.
We have our podcast is like the mountain ranges of the Sahara.
That didn't make any sense because the Sahara is a desert.
No, whatever. I'm thinking of sand. Whatever. I'm thinking of up and down. It's been going up and down.
The dunes.
Dunes. That's what I was trying to say. Dunes.
Like sand dunes.
Yeah. So those dunes. That's what I was trying to say. The dunes.
Yeah,
but it's like up and down. That's how it's always been.
Could have been like the Ozark Mountain Range or Rocky Mountains.
Well, I mean,
up and down.
I could have said like our Mount Charleston.
I mean, I've come to accept who we are. You know, we just finished. We like doing this, obviously. You come over, into the studio, we have the baby running around, we talk about sports. We have the other podcast, which we'll post on the feed, which is the pop culture. We talk about all the summer movies. We like doing it, but to some extent, we are what we are.
Well,
a bunch of assholes doing a podcast.
Yeah, and sometimes our us at our bad moments or our bad podcasts, sometimes it's so bad that it turns good. You know how we talk about that kind of stuff?
We talk about that movies. I don't know that we have it's so bad that it's good. I don't think we're idiots.
No.
We're just do it yourself. We're like punk rockers that like sports, essentially.
Yeah, and I think sometimes that makes for good stuff.
I hope so. I mean, legitimately, as much growth as this podcast had over the last few weeks, now that we've been more consistent,
we're doing something right.
Yeah, we had a ton of growth. Obviously, this is the podcast of the people. We're not trying to be above you. We're not like breaking news. You got Twitter. We'll just follow Adam Schefter for breaking NFL news. We're not trying to be the kings of the planet. This is a podcast by the people, 2 of them, and for the people. Billions across the world, whoever has an internet connection can listen to this podcast for free. You can listen while you walk to work. You can listen while you drive to work. You can listen while you're working in the garage in the evening.
Anytime, it works.
Yeah.
And we just happen to be in a place where every once in a while we might get some kind of semi-breaking news, or we're just in a place where we're going to be at the draft. We're going to be at the
Vegas
NFL
is
draft. We're going to be at like a hockey draft. You know what I mean? There's starting to get a lot of stuff
Short
going
of the
on
3 major cities, Vegas more and more is becoming an important sports city.
Yeah, so
so that's fine. That's cool. We'll do that stuff too. But at the same time, who are we? I ruminate about our podcast a lot. because we've been doing it a long time. I would like this is what growth is to me. The style of the podcast is not going to change. No. We're going to be this. We're going to be.
We are.
Yeah, we're going to be doing this. We're just going to.
Hook.
Yeah, sometimes we're going to have what we want to actually talk about. And then sometimes you walk in, you already know we're going to talk about Carlos Correa. We're going to talk about the NBA. You don't even have to ask me. We're talking about the NBA Finals. We might touch on hockey, UFC if there's something big, boxing or some of the crazy story. We've been doing this so long, you can walk through the door, not even ask me what the list of topics is. We could just turn on the podcast and start talking.
Yeah, sometimes we've wasted
We've never wasted.
Not wasted, but the lost episodes are... Sometimes we might talk for 20, 30 minutes before we even do the podcast, which we started doing less and less of, right? Because But you're right, we're just talking about what's happening right now.
Yeah.
And it's as simple as that.
So this is... So the style of the podcast, I don't think will change. I mean, everything changes at the margins over time. Maybe sound gets better. I think the next step in sports podcasting for Chaotic Sports and... my separate imprint, Chaos and Propaganda, is and obviously Chaotic Sports is yours and mine, is the live show. We got to start bringing in some cameras and recording this live, because the truth is that you know what I mean. We're wearing our clothes or hats. I mean, this is just the way we're going to look anyway. We might as well roll it live. I see so many live things. So whether it's the Pop Culture Show or Chaotic Sports, I see so much live shit on YouTube now, and I think to myself, I'm a better bullshitter, and I'm honest, because a lot of these people are trying to feign that they're experts in movies or basketball. No, why can't you just be a man for the people, like sports? Let's talk about sports.
It's we're the Swiss Army knives of the podcast scene, as far as.
Yeah, except we're the spoon.
Well, the spoon, but what I'm saying is there's no experts, there's no whatever.
I mean, we're experts.
We just know a lot about a lot of different stuff, and we're just going to bring it to
people. That's the one thing with the internet, too, man, is that everyone needs... You're not even only an expert on one sport, unless only a couple guys are seen that way.
Yeah.
Nowadays, you got to be an expert on the one team. You got to write... Like, I write for Fansided for the Vegas Knights thing. And I'll be honest, I'm getting now the Vegas Knights are out of it. I get bored of writing about. I'm going to write about the draft. I'm writing about the players and stuff. But it's like, what if you like everything?
We're turning to sports right now, which is awesome because we're talking about sports.
Yeah, in general.
But before we were doing the little movies and stuff like that. But back to the Knights, you're getting a little bored because they're out of it. But their developmental camp and all this other stuff is starting soon, so you're going to be able to go see the live games.
That's fine.
Go to the arena.
It's not even the Knights I'm talking about, though. It's that nowadays the internet wants you to be. You need to be an expert and focused on one team in one sport or something.
Yeah.
When this is what is this? This is a show for the general sports fan. Maybe a guy even that likes sports but doesn't watch them every day or something like that. He knows that this podcast he can come to get the news.
Yeah, he's going to get everything that's
the basic
going on
news
right now,
going on. Yeah, and not be told to him like we're talking down.
No,
down
and we are going to go on depth on some teams and certain stuff every once in a while.
What we want to do
right?
when we do power rankings, I like to talk about other people's power rankings. It's a lot easier to talk shit or agree than to
be like, I want to flip his power ranking upside down.
Yeah. It's obviously yours are always wrong because it's the Indians at the top when they're playing terrible.
I don't always have the Indians at the top. Injuries changes a lot of stuff, and they've had a lot of injuries. Now I know the Yankees have had injuries, and they're still playing better than Indians, but it's a big marathon, man. So if you're saying that,
I just hope the Twins beat the Indians.
They will not. I mean, you've been saying
you're saying they will not.
No, but you've been saying the Twins are going to be so good for 7 years in a row.
No, I've been saying it for 3 years.
Finally, you're right, but you're about to be wrong.
I've been saying it for 3 years.
They're going to go on a big losing streak. The Indians are going to go be on a big winning streak, and it's going to change upside down.
I hope they beat
upside down.
I hope they
beat.
You know that. I hope they beat the Indians.
But the power rankings are all crap. It's like the Rays. They're not going to be that good at the end of the year. They have a really good record now. The Dodgers will be. Dodgers are one of the better teams, and they're going to continue to be. Boston is playing better now.
They'll catch up a little bit. They're not going to have the same year last year, but
Astros are going to be there.
I mean, the power rankings aren't even. But most power rankings aren't trying to tell you who's going to be there at the end of the year. They're saying who's the best at this moment.
I know right now.
So anyway, let's get into sports stuff. I mean, I just wanted to really talk about. I hope it's a big announcement soon. We start doing live stuff. Record this live.
Idea.
Yeah, and then I can edit it and it come out in podcast form on Thursday.
Would you wear a mask or something?
No, that's for bitches.
No, what I'm saying is like, do people really want to see you like weekly?
People, dude, on the comics YouTube, I'm on there every day, just fucking talking about comics. You know what I mean?
Okay, so we got the microphones, we have the studio, we just haven't put it to video yet, which we will.
Yeah, there's the video situation, the right camera, setting that up, and then if you're going to be doing live, you want to make sure it doesn't cut out.
Yeah.
So you need that. So there's a little bit more equipment to buy.
Now the reason I like just the audio, but you can get best of both worlds with the live. But what I'm saying is, how we do it now is just a podcast that, like you say, you can listen in your car, whatever.
Oh,
it's to me that's all you need is just the audio. But the live, it could be audio if you just close your eyes or just listen to it.
Yeah,
you don't have to watch it.
Well, let me be clear. When I want it live, I just want it to be when it's happening live. It will still be a podcast.
No, okay, it will still be a podcast.
It will still go to all the podcasts. You know, Libsyn, iTunes,
chaoticsports.com, whatever.
It'll still be a podcast, but for people that wanted to watch the video or enjoy,
well, you want it live
Joe Rogan
and
or
video.
Collider, exactly.
You
I want
both.
live video and that sound clip to be the podcast. So obviously, we're not going to be doing dances and stuff that don't work for a podcast. It's still got to be a podcast, right?
We're not going to. You say you want to dance during the whole podcast.
I'm saying we can't dance on the live feed because it's supposed to be a podcast too.
You can jump up if you're happy about something.
Yeah. So, and that's happening a lot too. I mean, we're really behind the ball because we've been doing the podcast so long, but now you're seeing all these dudes that are really not any better than us. I mean, Joe Rogan was already famous, but he's not any better than us.
I love Rogan, well.
Yeah, I'm never going to talk shit about it, but he's not any better at it than us. He was consistent. He was putting out 4 episodes a week for years. Yeah. You know, and Collider is the same way. That's a great show. That's more pop culture, but we can do that and have other guests and bring people in. You know, you don't even have to be on every show if you didn't want to be. Obviously I will be because I'm pretty committed to doing this now, but anyway, let's get into the sports news. I think the biggest news, we'll lead with this one just because one, it's funny, and two, people hardly ever lead with baseball because only old people like it. I'm told that, but I love baseball still. So Carlos Correa, someone who at least should be the best shortstop in the league, but is definitely among them. I probably couldn't call him the best shortstop in the league right now, but definitely should be the best shortstop in the league. Is now out 4 to 6 weeks. And you just before we went and recorded, you went and tweeted and commented on this. Why don't you tell the listeners?
Well, it was a shocking thing because I saw that he was hurt a day or two ago. Whenever it happened, it might have been like...
Yeah, but we didn't know why.
Yeah. Well, the reason I knew about it is because he's on my fantasy team.
Yeah.
So I had to switch my lineups. It was probably yesterday. It might have happened a day or two ago. I don't know. But I switched my lineup because it had him injured, you know. So I moved the slot down.
You're lucky you could put Lindor. You can just slot Lindor right there in this.
That's what I did. Well, Correa's been my starter in my utility for
whatever. I mean, it's
months
like
because I give Lindor the respect and put him at my shortstop spot. You know, so I slotted Correa. I know I'm babbling, but this is what I'm saying.
I talk too much.
I slotted Correa out of my lineup for the whole week because I'm like, okay, he's hurt. Then I found out why he's hurt. You know, I didn't read why. I was just like, he's hurt.
You saw IR.
Yeah. So I was like, oh, he's hurt. He's whatever.
Day to day.
You know, I figured he fell he got hit with the baseball on his wrist or he twisted his ankle.
Throwing the ball.
Yeah.
The way a shortstop throws. I mean, it's never happened.
Arm issues. Like I said, maybe he was batting and he got hit by a 90-mile-an-hour ball in his freaking wrist or something.
Maybe someone really hurt his feelings really bad.
Yeah, something like that. So then I find out today he got hurt because a massage therapist had something against him, and they broke his ribs. He got punched 5 times in the stomach, broke his rib, 2 ribs open, and she walked out of the massage. She got paid. She got paid to do it.
You think it was a girl?
I don't know if it was a girl. I didn't say, but I'm just imagining. I'm imagining that he didn't want to pay her, right? So he got a massage. He didn't want to pay her, so she punched him in the ribs and broke his ribs. Now, what else could it be? Because how hard a massage is that she broke his ribs?
For one, I think it was probably a guy.
Okay, it's legitimate. He really is out for 4 to 6
massage.
weeks because of a massage injury at home. It sounds like it's fake, right?
It sounds fake. But if it's a guy, and I've never really gotten a massage, but I know if I did, I don't want like a dinky little rub, to make my muscles feel better. I need like a lot of pressure, maybe even I almost need a back crack or something like that, right? I need a lot of pressure. So if it happens 1 in a million times, it's weird that it happened to a millionaire professional baseball player, but I can sort of see it if you need this real tough, real hard massage. And
they just went overboard. They just went a little too hard.
Yeah, I could see it at least.
It just sounds kind of fun.
Funky, yeah.
It just sounds weird.
It's what's reported. So the reporters actually asked the Houston front office, whoever announced it. The Houston front office deferred, said, you're just going to have to ask Carlos what happened. They didn't want to say the reason just because it might be embarrassing. And Carlos Correa apparently just told everyone. But
well, I mean, it's more confusing than embarrassing. I didn't think embarrassing at all. It sounded like I thought fishy. Or it just doesn't. It doesn't add up. But embarrassing was not even.
I think it's a little embarrassing that you broke your ribs are so weak they broke during a massage.
I just think it's false information.
You think it's false?
Well, what I'm saying is it's
that's a big claim. That's breaking news. And
no,
Angelo Saboro thinks it's false.
No, was it? It was just some. It was some like freaking. I don't even know what it's called. BDM or whatever that's called. Or what?
BSDM. Wait,
whatever it is.
Sado massacre.
Just something weird like. I mean, you're saying like you're saying he's brittle is what you're saying. Embarrassing because he's brittle.
I mean, so's Lindor. They're both brittle little weenies. None of them are Corey Seager.
So that's why you did that trade, right?
Corey Seager was out all year last year.
True. Right? Everybody just gets hurt. Everybody just gets hurt.
Yeah.
Lindor is actually pretty fit and.
Is he playing well already? What's he hitting?
I don't even know what he's hitting. He's back. He's playing good.
I haven't heard his name that much, so he must be easing in.
He's easing in. It's hard to just get right back in. Not everybody's Bellinger.
Well, I mean, Bellinger didn't come back from an injury. Bellinger's having a hot year,
He's just not brittle.
Yeah, I mean, well, Bellinger's been hurt.
I mean, doesn't everybody get hurt?
Yeah, everyone gets hurt, yeah. I mean, everyone's brittle. Especially with the 10-day IL. I still want to call it the DL. Especially with the 10-day injury list. People just use that just to fuck around so they could bring up pitchers and stuff now. It's just a big joke.
Yeah. I mean, especially baseball with all the traveling and the amount of games.
Should be 14. They should go back to 14.
Yeah, everybody gets hurt because it's just like, not everybody's Cal Ripken Jr. and like he missed, actually he didn't miss hardly any games.
Yeah.
Not everybody's
Cal Ripken Jr., yeah.
Yeah, other than that, every other player besides him misses.
And even though baseball's like an easier game on your body than football or even basketball with all the jumping, it is still they're playing 162 games. Europeans
and the travel.
Travel. Europeans are really surprised by that because they'll be like, baseball, what are they doing? And I'm like, dude, I get it, and I get that you might like cricket better or whatever, but in baseball, the season from April to October or April to September, if you make the playoffs, it's more than 162 games.
Especially
you're playing 5 days a week, so that gets
you play 5 days a week, and it's like like double headers. Or the weather when you're outside, it's hot. It's tiring.
Yeah,
I've played a doubleheader before, and this was just like 5-6 years ago. But so you're playing like 2-3 hours.
Yeah,
and then like maybe an hour break, and then you play another 2-3 hour game.
Yeah,
and it's like 100 outside or something. Like you're exhausted.
Yeah, so 162 games is a lot. So everyone's a little brittle. It's just a real strange way that if you're a pro athlete and you're playing at that level of skill, you should probably get hurt on the field or court. Not getting a massage.
Yeah.
Right? But I think it's interesting that you think it's fake. You didn't say that you thought it was fake in the tweet.
Yeah, I didn't want to. I wanted to say it live on the air.
Oh, that's good.
So also...
retweet that. I want you to really push that you think it's bullshit.
Okay. Also, another thing that's happened, another injury, then I don't even know who it was. I forgot. It was like a year ago.
I might remember.
Well, somebody fell, and they got injured away from the field, too. They like tripped down the stairs.
Yeah, that happens here and there. I know what you're talking about. I think it was.
You remember talking about?
I think it was in the restroom. I think it was in the bathtub, like taking a shower.
That might be another one. I think possibly it was an NFL player, but it was just like a random thing too. It was like they just got hurt like moving something like down the stairs. I mean,
Tony Ferguson, a UFC fighter, remember he did an interview like with ESPN. He stepped on a cord the wrong way and tore like his ACL.
Yeah. And then what's the other guy that did like a flip and he hurt himself?
He didn't do a flip. So far, the people doing flips have all survived. Everyone hates it. There's that Brazilian guy named he has like a normal name, Johnny Walker.
Okay.
I think he's Brazilian.
You know what I'm talking about, right?
Yeah. He did a belly flop that he always does. He did, so this would be for the live show. He did the belly flop where he just goes and belly flops down and like goes into the snake or something.
And he pulled his back or something?
He hurt himself because he had to be helped to the Joe Rogan interview. And he just knocked someone out.
Yeah.
He got hurt doing his...
That's pretty dumb though, right?
That's really dumb, yeah. Well,
or another player.
Not Testaverde.
I was just going to say that kicker.
Was it Testaverde? No, it was... it
was a kicker. No, dude. There was also... Okay, there might have been a quarterback. There was a kicker that celebrated hitting a field goal, and he was out the rest of the year.
Yeah, okay, I remember that, yeah.
And it was like for Arizona Cardinals or some weird Italian name.
Yeah.
But yeah, he got injured celebrating.
So a decade ago, a guy got injured celebrating too. God, was it Testaverde? I don't think it was Testaverde.
No, it wasn't Testaverde. He
celebrated, and he hit his head against the pole, like just
Oh,
celebrating. Yeah,
that was a quarterback.
It was a quarterback. Yeah, hit his head against the pole, and he got hurt.
No, that was
not
like
Blaine Gabbert. It was
that was like Drew Bledsoe or Jeff George.
No. Those are all. This guy was like a perennial career second stringer.
Yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about. He was pumped up.
For some reason, I want to say Guy Metzger, but that's a fighter.
The guy you're talking about knocked himself out, basically.
Yeah, and he was out the rest of the year.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't really matter what his name is. We're just talking about these crazy injuries that it's like,
it
was just some stupid thing. Like,
technically, those are on the field.
I mean, that was on the field, but that was like celebrating. Like, that was, I don't know what's worse, knocking yourself out. Like,
it's embarrassing. It's embarrassing.
Or a kicker, like, out for the rest of the year celebrating a field goal because he like pulled something. Like, all he did was just jump up. You know what I mean? I can't think of who you're talking about, man. You're talking about it was a real live guy. Like, I'm talking Bledsoe, Jeff George. It was like a guy that's like talked a lot and was kind of loud.
He was loud, really?
Yeah. He got in trouble probably a few times. It was one of those.
Oh, I thought it was.
No, it wasn't. No.
Oh, here
Peyton Manning guy or nothing. It was not. It wasn't Tom.
Oh, here it is. This is who it is. As soon as I read the name, I was saying Guy, and I was thinking Guy Metzger, the fighter from like the late '90s, but it was Gus Frerotte.
Okay.
Yeah, Gus Frerotte, and then he's like a perennial second string quarterback.
For the Vikings.
I think it was for the Vikings, but he's one of those guys that played on like 5-6 teams.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I think. So anyway, moving on.
Just be careful out there.
Yeah. So I don't know who was right, because technically for the NBA Finals, I was right because I said Toronto in 6, but I got to give you some credit.
We're both right.
Yeah. I got to give you some credit because even when they went down 2-0 and Milwaukee looked great, and then the next game Milwaukee lost, but they lost in double overtime. I thought I just wanted to switch. I was like, Milwaukee's just on another level.
Yeah.
Then they did the thing we assumed that they were going to do from the start. Why aren't we coaching the fucking NBA? How is it not obvious? Why did it take you 2 games to realize you should put Kawhi Leonard on the fucking MVP, runner-up MVP?
Dude.
It took him 2 games. That's right, Milwaukee won.
Like you said, before even the series, we talked about it. It was like Kawhi.
It was obvious. Who else is going to do it?
Kawhi's the one that should guard.
They're both forwards.
The Greek Freak.
They're both forwards.
And the only guy that could stop the Greek Freak is Kawhi, who's one of the best defenders in the league.
Maybe if you got a time machine and got Gary Payton.
Well, you might want to put the best defender in the NBA on one of the best offensive players in the NBA.
I thought so.
Makes sense, right?
So, I actually, the games were just on in the background, so I wasn't paying super attention to those first 2 games. So I actually found this out like game 4. It was like, oh, well, now they decided, what a good move to put Kawhi Leonard on Giannis Antetokounmpo.
Yeah.
And
ridiculous, huh?
And it's like, yeah, that is fucking ridiculous. What's wrong with you? Like, why wouldn't you do that? And then you swept
innovative, huh?
Yeah, then you swept them. You swept them. So one game was close, and then after that, you just swept. Essentially,
that's
it was
the thing
a sweep.
The thing I called is I said that Toronto would win the next 4 in a row, and they did, because I wasn't scared that they were down 2-0.
Well, you didn't say they would win 4 in a row. You thought it was going to be 7.
I did it on a tweet, but that doesn't matter.
If you did it on a tweet, I'd take that.
No, I did. But
at 2,
yes, down 0-2.
They'll win 4.
Yes.
Oh, we'll look at that.
We'll look at it. But my point is, like 2 months earlier, I did pick those two teams in the finals. So but that's not that crazy of a call.
No.
But I said Toronto, Golden State in the finals.
Yeah, so I said Toronto in 6.
Yeah.
So technically I was right from the last podcast, but the way Milwaukee played, even though I wasn't watching closely, I was like, oh, Milwaukee might be on another level. The way those first two games, maybe not a sweep, because, I mean, Toronto's still a good team, right? But it was like, and then plus Toronto's history of choking, this time it went around. Kawhi changed that tradition almost alone. So Kawhi
was great. Also kind of like injured. He didn't notice.
Well, he got injured later. He got injured in like game 4, right?
Whatever it was, watching some of those games, he didn't look himself. He looked a little sluggish, slow.
But he's smart.
Yeah, but he still was good enough to get 28, 10, and 5, and 6, whatever. You still look at his stat lines, but if you watch the game, he just didn't look himself, but he was still good enough to be like the best player.
He was hurt. I think he did get hurt in game 3 because I remember during the double overtime, they're like, and he's playing hurt. He may not even play. I can't remember now, but I think the announcers in game 3 were like, he might not be here for game 4 because he's clearly playing hurt. The announcers, I think, even said that. Yeah, he's one of the great players, and it's. Listen, I know that I know that we're up in the air on who's the best player. I think it's easy for both you and me to say Durant is right now, but I don't think we try to give Kawhi this extra, like, sort of side trophy, calling him the best two-way player. But maybe we don't understand how, maybe we're just, I mean, I think we understand, you and I, but maybe in general, the sports world doesn't understand really how important defense is. They all say it's important, but if Kawhi can stop the MVP and for the series to change that drastically, and he was hurt, if you stop 2 points and score 2 points,
I mean, he was stopping LeBron years ago, right?
Yeah, that went back and forth because LeBron had some against him too. But here's what I'm saying though: if you stop 2 points and then you score 2 points, that's 4 points. Yeah. That's 4 points. So Kawhi, without taking into consideration his defense, has had these 40-point games. He's not hardened to do it every week or every day.
Well, and the numbers that aren't getting shown though,
if you add the points he's not letting go in.
Yeah, he's might not getting still. He gets like 2-3 steals, a block or two.
But he shuts down.
But yeah, the stats that aren't being shown is just like he's stopping.
So you almost want, and it's hard to say whether the way you're playing, because maybe he's not stopping a shot, he's just covering you so well you have to pass, right? But for every 40-point Harden game, he's probably responsible for giving up 25 to 30 to a mediocre player.
Who?
Harden, when he plays in a game. Let's say, take any 40-point Harden game, he's probably giving up 25 to just a decent guard. Right?
And then if he's going on, they're like, this guy's just focused on offense. I'm
and Chris Paul being there helps because Chris Paul will cover the better guard and stuff. Where Kawhi, maybe he scores 25 or 30, but he's just stopped Giannis from scoring 35.
And that took a lot out of him,
scored
obviously.
15 or something,
right? Physically, it took a lot out of him.
Yeah, so now we'll see.
Playing both ways. Now, who does he... Well, he starts on Durant. Obviously, Durant's not playing. So who does he start guarding? Is it Green? Draymond Green?
No, I think they should put him on Clay. Just because I think he can switch to start covering a 2. I mean, he's basically a 3, right?
Clay's very hard to guard because he's catch and shoot. I mean, it's hard to like...
He is catch and shoot.
I mean, so he's gonna...
The problem is, though, is that... I'm sorry for interrupting, but the problem is that if Kawhi covers Clay, he's covering the second best shooter on the court, because all that does is really just open up Curry even more. So Clay's catch and shoot. Now he could be catch and pass, and Curry could be catch and shoot, and he'll just get assists or something, So that team is
trouble, right?
Yeah, that team's too good for just Kawhi.
It is. It's They would need more players. Kawhi needs to join forces or something because the Warriors are just without Durant. They're just deadly still.
They're still the best team.
They would have to have another guy to get injured or something.
Here's what's interesting when you have a shutdown player like Kawhi. When, even though LeBron in his prime could still get his sometimes, if he were covering Durant's still going to score some points, right? You're not going to completely stop him. But the fact is that when Kawhi plays a team like a lot of LeBron's teams, especially when he was in Cleveland, or when Kawhi plays a team like Milwaukee, where there's one great player and a lot of solid role players, if you shut down that guy, score a little bit, and then have the rest of your team play well, you're going to win. The problem in Golden State is what? There's 4 All-Stars there.
You shut down one.
Yeah.
You shut down Curry, Clay's going to throw up 30.
And to be honest, Draymond is not the worst scorer in the world. He just doesn't need to be. He doesn't need to shoot.
He just needs to not complain about fouls and just play, get rebounds, blocks.
Yeah, but we've seen Draymond actually shoot a few more balls now that Durant's been out.
Yeah,
he's actually gotten an opportunity, and he looks good. So when he needs to do it, he can too. I'm not saying he's an elite shooter or something like that. He's the heart and soul of the team. So I don't know. Whatever you say Kawhi is going to do, then you can automatically go, what about Curry? What about Clay? What about
Toronto's only way to win the series? Kawhi has to average like 50 points a game and play outstanding defense.
I mean, that's a lot, and he's hurt.
Obviously, it's possible, right? It could happen, but I'm being serious. That's the only way I think they would even have a chance to win the series.
I mean, the only other thing is that
Curry get hurt or something.
Or Curry just gets in that little bit of falls back into that cold streak. But the problem is that when Durant's not there, even if Curry's cold, he gets the ball a lot so he can get out of those cold streaks easy.
Yeah.
Because when Durant was scoring all those points, everyone was like, Curry's not having a good playoffs. The first, before Durant got hurt. And then obviously he had that one game against the Rockets where he didn't score in the first half, and then he ended up with 32 or something in the second half.
Wow.
Yeah.
I call because Klay Thompson got disrespected. He didn't get all NBA.
Yeah.
Second team, third team, which I clearly think he's a top 6 guard in the NBA.
Yeah, well, this season though, the numbers didn't.
Yeah, I know. But my point is,
Kemba Walker
I think he's going to have an outstanding finals, and he'll have probably score the most points game 1 or 2. He'll have 35, 40 points or something.
He'll have a big game or something like that.
He's kind of on edge right now. He's about to light up the
I mean, here's the thing with when Clay needs to and they give him the ball, he can have a big game at any time. I'll say this, though. I don't have the guards up there, but I remember on the third team, one of the guards were Kemba Walker. I think it was maybe let's say it's Westbrook and Kemba Walker. I mean, Kemba Walker deserves to be on the third team too. He's not on TV, but he had a great, great year. And I think he's one of the most underrated players in the league. People don't realize how good he is because the team he's on.
Oh, if he goes to the Knicks or something, I mean, he's
he'll be on.
Best, that'd be awesome.
Yeah, he'll be on.
He just can't be the best player. He's like Kyrie Irving.
He's like a lot of guards.
Yeah, you just can't be the best player, So what's your call on the series?
4-1.
4-1 Golden State.
Yeah, the Raptors get one.
And another title for Golden State in their last year at the Oracle.
Last year at the Oracle, and then to be honest, even when Durant leaves, they probably get another one, depending what Clay does.
Or they're at least going to be in probably the finals again. I mean, even if I
think that they still beat. I don't know how the teams are going to change. I don't know if LeBron's going to get 2 big stars and then take half the season off, half-ass it because it's easy to get into the playoffs.
Only thing that would give us would be a good Western Conference Finals.
That'd be a good Western Conference Finals. I don't know what the Knicks are going to do. Seems like the Knicks are just itching to make a big move, but
they've been saying it for years. Though,
yeah, I mean the Knicks 15 years ago made big moves by getting Carmelo and Joe Johnson, and then they just got stuck. They're barely getting out of that slime situation.
Around that time frame, also when they got Amari Stoudemire
too.
It was they were waiting for the one other big guy, but nobody came.
And I mean, and then just it didn't gel. I mean, what's his name? Not Joe Johnson. The guy just said
Carmelo.
Carmelo is how did I forget that after 4 seconds? And then Carmelo just turned out not to be the best player to play with. So.
Well, he couldn't do it all on his own,
But he's just a pure scorer. He's just only a scorer kind of thing. I know he played okay defense, but locker room stuff too. He just didn't seem like he ever gelled on a team, And then a bunch of other teams are, getting good. Who gets Lillard? So there's some openings for it. But even if Durant leaves, I still think that Golden State's the favorite. I think that they just score too quickly, and I think that there are more of those scorers with Clay, and it's basically like having 2 Hardens because Harden's just launching up threes. Basically like having 2 of them. So if one's cold, the other one's open,
That's why they were the Splash Brothers, right?
Oh, exactly.
Bombing threes,
Okay, last thing I just want to bring up is this weekend, we haven't talked UFC in a while, and I know your mind's been out of UFC for a minute here, but there's actually a really good card coming up. Henry Cejudo, who basically kept alive the 125 weight division by beating a guy who turned out to be cheating the whole time, TJ Dillashaw. Henry Cejudo is defending his bantamweight title against Marlon Moraes. Marlon Moraes is actually someone I'm really excited to see fight. He's a guy that comes out of...
So is he a wrestler like Cejudo?
Yeah, he's the champion of the World Series of Fighting. Before that, switched to the Pro Fighters League. And he's one of these guys that came in. Everyone thought he's going right to the belt. He's going to go almost direct to Demetrius Johnson at the time. But he's one of those guys that came in from another thing. And maybe, you go to the UFC, it's different than World Series of Fighting. It's different than Strikeforce or Bellator. Sometimes it can get to you. So he lost his first fight.
What do you mean, like more eyes on you or better?
More eyes. You get that adrenaline dump. You don't do as well because it's just a different experience to be in the UFC. And he lost his first fight. I think he lost his first fight.
So you're saying he might have lost the first fight based on his emotions or too pumped up?
I think so. You get too pumped up. The other guy's ready even though he's not as good as you. So basically he could have come in.
That's true in sports though.
In sports in general. I think he could have come in, won that fight, won a second fight. He would have fought Demetrius Johnson. But since he lost that fight, he basically had to win like 4 in a row. And it was against a legit fighter, Rafael Assunção. And he's since revenged that win. He's gotten that win back. And now he gets his shot against Cejudo.
He's doing something right. He's fighting.
And he's fighting the champion. And listen, I think Cejudo wins. I think he's just in a good zone. I really would have rather seen the third matchup between him and Demetrius Johnson. But of course, Demetrius Johnson got traded to ONE FC.
I can't believe you just said that. Like
it's basically traded.
Even hearing that again, traded. It just sounds
in
funny.
MMA.
Yeah, just like that really happened.
Yeah,
it did really happen.
Is it a trade? It was basically a trade. And Assunção was a guy also too that was like, hey, he was like a little bit of a boring fighter. But
so what's the some of the undercards in this card?
I'm getting to it, dude.
No, I'm just saying. I'm interested.
We're freaking right in the middle of talking, and you want to jump to the undercard?
No, I just want to know.
So Assunção is also an incredible fighter. If he would have beaten Marlon Moraes, he'd have definitely got the shot. It might have been a boring fight because that would have been sort of, careful guy against wrestler kind of thing. But Marlon Moraes could be fireworks. Henry Cejudo can be if you really spark him. I just wish that I wish more people were into like that bantamweight. I mean, people they see a 125er and they're just not into it. That bothers me.
I think a lot of people like that. They like the crazy athletic little guys, I know
Dana White's been thinking about shutting it down now.
I know everybody wants to see the heavyweights or the big, that was always the most popular. Now it's kind of the light heavyweight.
Here's what I say, dude. If that division isn't popular, don't shut it down. Just don't put money on it behind it. You know what I mean? Just throw it on the card and let them have their championship and just make it smaller. What? Because I think that there should be weight classes for every 10 pounds. We don't have a 165 division. I think it should go 25, 35, 45, 55, 65, and then change 170 to 75.
That's hard to keep up with, though, right?
Who cares?
Yeah, it'd be like a lot.
And it's easier, though. But it's easier to make fights, too, because people can go up and down easier. 10 pounds.
Yeah, but people want to people want to know what they're about to watch and the guys that they're following. If the guys were kept switching all the time, you wouldn't want that.
I mean, I don't think that's a big deal. Because really what you want is the big fight. That's really what people want. They want the big fight. Most of the time, I bet you people didn't realize that Floyd Mayweather went up to 154 to fight Canelo. Right? It doesn't matter. The big fight was Canelo versus Floyd Mayweather. You know what I mean? So I don't think it matters that much. I think it gives them the opportunity to have more belts. Because they seem to want to have pay-per-views be for belts only. And then all the other fights, the bigger fights.
Well, yeah, the fans want the belts to mean something.
There's a fight. I want to talk about this women's fight, too. The belts already don't mean anything because they keep doing interim
That's
shit.
what they want. I know. Yeah. That's what they want.
I don't think the fans give a shit either.
Well, people are just putting belts.
Here's the thing. This could easily be the main event if it were for a belt, or it would be the main event of a Fox card. Tony Ferguson versus Donald Cerrone. That's about as action-packed as you get.
That's fight this Saturday?
Yeah, that's not even... There's 2 fights for the belt. There's Shevchenko fighting Jessica Ai. Valentina's fighting, so that's awesome.
Card.
So if the Moraes-Cejudo fight falls off, they got another championship fight. These are both not very popular weight classes, but who cares? They're great fights.
People also want to see fights, because there's been a lot of, they pull the person or the person gets hurt.
I mean, it's just part of the game. What can you do, right? But now we get, hopefully Tony Ferguson makes weight because he's been having trouble. He's also been having some bad mental health issues.
Yeah.
I don't even know really if he should be fighting, to be honest. But that's not our job to decide that.
How's Cerrone doing?
Cerrone is on a winning streak.
Okay, good.
Yeah. Since he lost to that dude from Liverpool, whose name slips my mind, Cerrone fights every 3 months, 2 months. Yeah. So since he lost to him, he's won every fight. He just won a fight against.
He's exciting to watch.
Yeah, he's a fun guy.
People love him because of that.
He just won a fight against. Well, scratch that. So he, not since the Darren Till fight, he also lost to Leon Edwards. But he's on a little 3-fight winning streak. Alexander Hernandez is actually a solid win. But Mike Perry and Al Iaquinta are very good wins. So maybe not. So after that Al Iaquinta win, that's when they started talking about him and Conor, because that's an exciting fight.
Yeah.
But Conor and Cowboy are very different people. Cowboy needs to fight. Conor wants to make deals in the back and pull strings and get this. You know what I mean? Conor is an event, and he knows he's an event. Cowboy's going to be on the card every 3 months. So basically, Cowboy said, "You're bothering me too much. You either fight me or you don't." And he just took another fight.
Yeah.
And to be honest, this is a better fight for him, because beating Tony Ferguson puts him back in championship talk. Because Tony Ferguson never lost the belt.
Dana likes freaking guys like Cerrone.
And Ferguson.
Yeah, because they're
fighters.
They're fighters. They don't miss a lot of fights. Well, Ferguson did, but I'm saying I don't think Cerrone misses a lot of fights.
Yeah, Cerrone doesn't miss a lot of fights. He's come close. Ferguson does get hurt. But I would argue, so making money once, this is better for Cerrone, would be to fight Conor, obviously. But for getting another championship attempt or opportunity, Ferguson's literally the guy that should get the next championship shot. So and if he's able to beat him...
So this is Cerrone's a fight or so away from being in the big fight.
Exactly, and he's fallen short when he's got to the championship level. Dos Anjos beat him. And then he had to do a reset. He's changed weights back and forth. Then he fights so much.
I just don't want to see Cerrone do like a Silva or certain fighters, you know what I mean, where they're just fighting too long, and it's like you're like, dude, this dude needs to stop, like BJ Penn.
Well, to be honest,
I've been thinking about Silva for the last few fights, and then he's just getting mopped up. You know?
Yeah, he's not the same. To be honest, that is Donald Cerrone. He's going to be fighting until someone won't until the doctors don't let him. So he's going to be fighting until he's 50. He'll be fighting in the Indian.
So?
He'll be fighting in the Indian.
Oh, I think he's going to be. He might be dead, bro.
No, he'll never ride off in the sunset.
I think he
fights every 3 months, dude.
I know, because he's still
November, January, May. No, I mean the same way that he jumps out of fucking helicopters and hang glides and stuff.
To me, Cerrone's thing is party, have fun. Once he's done fighting, I figure he would just be grabbing some beers and going and chilling somewhere.
I feel like you don't have a good grasp on his personality.
No,
he's party, have fun.
Right now he is.
This is fun to him.
Right now he is having fun, but I'm saying he's not the one that's doing 49, 50 years old.
Absolutely.
We'll see about that.
Yeah,
I think he's going to be chilling by then, and he's made.
He'll never retire. He'll be forced to retire.
Oh, okay. I disagree with that
one.
No,
he'll never stop. He'll never stop. So? No, he'll keep going. He's the opposite of all these guys. He literally he could have just dealt with Conor McGregor for the next 6 months, maybe gotten the fight and have a big money fight.
Who's the fighter that they had to basically tell to stop? It was a BJ
Chuck
Penn?
Liddell. Well, they never told BJ Penn because he'll keep going. Chuck Liddell.
Yeah.
They told to stop. Who's the guy? He just went to the Hall of Fame. He was. It's actually
Couture?
Who Anderson. Couture stopped on his own. Rich Franklin. They told to stop, I believe. Yeah, what's his name that just got hit in the train? One of the greatest welterweights ever. It was GSP had to beat him.
He got hit in the train. GSP
beat him 10 or 15 years ago. I can't remember his name. They just did a freaking documentary about him. Why am I so bad at names?
I don't know, man.
White guy fought GSP. Do I got to look this up again?
I don't know. I'm just trying to think. We should know that. It was recently.
No, it's not recently. He got hit by the train 3 or 4 years ago.
Whoever it is, doesn't really matter. We're just talking about.
How do we not remember this guy's name?
I can't even think of it. I mean, it should have been a big fight if it was.
Well, this guy I believe, got told to stop also.
And you're talking about it was a big fighter?
Yeah, it's one of the biggest fighters ever. It's only. I mean, this guy was until GSP became the biggest.
Another guy I'm thinking of too, like Uriah Faber. He's
driving me nuts. Matt Hughes.
Okay, Matt Hughes.
Oh yeah, Uriah Faber is coming.
He's coming back, which is like
he decided he saw all these guys. He goes, I could beat some of these guys.
Yeah, I mean, I guess maybe he can, but he was kind of losing a little bit at the end.
Well,
you know?
he's that guy that, well, he could never get over the hump. He was like Bisping until Bisping actually won, or like Chael.
He could beat everybody else but the one guy.
But he goes up to the championship and he gets sass beat. You know, there's just like Aldo was too good at the time, or whoever was too good at the time. So he'll probably go down. Him or Dan Henderson, I think, will go down. I think Dan Henderson a little bit more as best fighters never to win a UFC title. There's a couple other. That's actually a good conversation because I can think of a couple other ones. Best fighters ever to never win a title. There's a few.
Yeah.
So anyway, I just wanted to poke in on the UFC. We got the women's 135 title up for grabs also. So a lot of good stuff. Basketball.
A couple calls on the UFC fights? Or no?
Hockey. I don't like making calls. I just like watching them. Yeah. Hockey. Hockey's still going on, which is a love of ours, but we didn't talk about it today for whatever reason. You can find us at Chaotic Sports on Twitter, at Chaotic Sports Media on Instagram, and me at Chris Sard on Twitter. You guys have a great day. It's another podcast in the books, dude.
Hey, I'm thankful, man. We'll see you next week.
Yeah, later.